What is up? Big Fire 200 here. So Chrono Odyssey. So I actually did play a bit of the beta during the weekend when it had its closed beta, and it was pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting experience. My thoughts on the game are that I think it definitely has promise. There are like definitely bugs to work out with lag and things not looking the way they should and like stuff like that. But overall, I think it's like I am excited to play this MMO in the future. And I mean, I'll probably go more into it as I like watch this video, but let's go.
Wow, this is easily one of the coolest trailers I've seen for an MMO in years. Sure, the game is being published by Korean developers who have a pretty shaky track record regarding monetization and game quality, but this time, the trailer looks so good.
Jeez, I really need headphones.
That I might be able to put aside my previous biases and actually enjoy this game anyway.
I feel like, because I think I said this before, in my Chrono Odyssey first impressions video, but Korean games, I feel like Korean MMOs in particular, or like Asian MMOs, they always have like amazing trailers. Like they always look like really good, like 100%. Like the marketing team has been A1 since day one, and I think it's a lot because aesthetically, like everything's like just pleasing in like Korean MMOs, really. Like the characters look amazing. They usually have like very high graphics and stuff compared to like other MMOs on the market. And just everything looks like the way it should, really.
I mean, it can't be any
like
worse.
The armor and stuff is like so cool. Like they have like the aesthetics down, is what I'm saying.
Worse than Lost Ark or BDO or Bless Online or Blade and Soul or Throne and Liberty, right? Right? Well, folks, if you wanted a game that utilized this new world's user interface and weapon system, but in a less functioning and poor manner while not being able to enter obviously open spaces with your ridiculous looking
Well, I never got that far.
Unreal Engine 5 slop character creation, this
the character creation, I actually think the character creation is really good, actually. Because I know a lot of people are like there's like a sliding scale. Like some people are like it's not immersive because you can make like this weird looking character, but on one hand it does give you the freedom to like let you do this in the first place, which a lot of character creators don't do. So I would say it's like a preference thing. If you like immersion but like more limited options, then you won't like this. But if you like freedom to be able to create the character that you want, then you would like this. And this would be like a great character creator. I think honestly, like in both situations, I feel like it's an S tier character creator, you know? I feel I would put the character creator up there. Like I have no problems with the character creator, even though I didn't like fiddle around with it too much. But seeing all like the options tells me that this is like a good character creator. Like what you can do with it tells me this character creator is a W.
Is the game for you, or maybe you wanted to struggle to find where you're.
So I feel like people are making like weird characters now because they know it's a beta and like this is not like their real character. Like the character isn't permanent or anything. But once the game launches, you won't see that many weird characters because a lot of people want their character to look good. So obviously they won't make like someone who looks weird or anything. Like they'll just look like, you know, pretty cool. Like most people want to look cool. Because that's why they buy cosmetics and stuff, and you know. So when the game comes out, I expect most people to fall in line to like make the character look beautiful and cool and stuff.
Quest marker was actually telling you to go, along with a bunch of other players who were also clearly confused, only to come to the realization that you can participate in non-consensual open-world PvP by throwing explosives at each other. Then
oh yeah, that's actually just funny.
Again, this game is for you. Or maybe you just wanted slow jank.
I mean, I didn't really get griefed or anything by that, but I feel like that could be like a griefing thing.
An awful feeling movement with laggy animations in a world where the lighting needs to come with a seizure warning and
I feel like the movement was fine, really, except like some of the animations. Like I saw like the berserker like running with his axes animation.
promises such as seamless open world made you literally Google the definition of seamless.
Wait, seamless open world joins or interruptions, creating. Okay, that definitely was not seamless. Like there was a lot of lag and like a lot of people like popping in or like popping out and stuff. It's definitely no. Also, I thought seamless open world is like what BDO is, like no loading screens anywhere and stuff like that. I'm not sure because, you know, in this game you can teleport, so, and obviously you're always using the teleporter, so I'm not sure if you go from one end of the map to the other end if there's no loading screen. That would be cool if it is like that, but not sure.
Yeah, Chrono Odyssey. I suffered through this game's beta testing, so you don't have to. If you appreciate my sacrifice to the MMO gods, I would appreciate a like on the video. And you can even comment telling me how much of a complete idiot I was for letting myself feel even the slightest bit of hype towards this complete dumpster fire. Now, let's get into it. So,
yeah, I don't feel that way about the game. I think it definitely has promise, and I'm still like pretty hyped.
upon entering the game, you're met with a bunch of cutscenes that we've already seen from previous trailers that were released for the game. In fact,
oh, I think you see this before you actually create your character, so you know, I have no idea what was going on here. Like, you know, like is this like part of the, like, are you supposed to know this information before you create your character? Like, is it important, or is it gonna come in later? They're gonna be like, oh, like this is how this ties into the story.
Even most of the cutscenes that I interacted with were actually scenes that they had shared in the game's trailers that have been released upwards of 2 years.
I haven't seen every trailer, so.
Ago. The server select screen looks pretty cool, and I have to give them some props. The game's aesthetic is really where Chrono Odyssey shines.
Yeah, I do like the game's aesthetic. It kind of gives me like an Elden Ring slash like Alien type of aesthetic, which I like. I like the aesthetic.
Actual art direction is super compelling, and it's really interesting. But now into character creation. You're first asked to choose between 6 different.
Oh yeah, we can only choose Berserker, Warrior, and who's the other one? Ranger. Yeah, we couldn't choose any of the cool classes because I wanted to pick Mage, but unfortunately I couldn't. Because I was curious. I'm always curious how like MMO is gonna like their take on the Mage to see how powerful they make the Mage. Because sometimes like the Mage is like behind like the Warrior in terms of like damage and stuff, and like, or sometimes they like put the Mage in like melee range and stuff. Like I wonder if it was gonna be like a traditional Mage and like what their spells were, like would they have like necromancy, and like I don't know, I'm just so curious like what the Mage character would be like. Also, I believe I was interested in the rogue character, because the rogue character is usually like the cool character. Like you can dodge and like sometimes go invisible and stuff. They're usually like overpowered for PvP, so that also interests me. And I would say those are like the most interesting classes to me.
Different classes. Oh wait, 3 different classes, because the other 3 are still locked. That's fine. I'm not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not making this video to bash on a game that's still in beta testing. Having certain features locked is totally okay, and I can understand that.
And I like the design of these guys. Like that guy's Giga Chad.
Anyway, each class. She's
like sexy in like a sort of Aerith kind of way, but like maybe a bit past that. She's got this rogue. Is she hiding a shrine gun under there? Kind of feel. Paladin, you know, fully armored and all. And yeah, actually no, this guy's Paladin. I guess this guy looks, I guess because he looks like he has more armor, but I can't really fully see this guy's armor. But I'm pretty sure this guy's a Paladin, this guy's a swordsman, and I forget what she is specifically. Actually no, she's the Ranger, right? Yeah, she's the Ranger.
Has the opportunity to use 3 different weapons, and 2 of those at the same time. I chose to be the swordsman, who can use a greatsword, a sword and shield, and dual blades. And now we get into actual character customization. And I was kind of confused when I first saw this because prior I had seen a ton of creators actually praising the character creation as if it's the best part of the game. And while it functions, certainly, it also just feels like every other Unreal Engine 5 character creator that we've seen this year.
Oh, maybe I haven't seen enough Unreal Engine 5 character creators.
You have a ton of presets on the side with a black nondescript background, and you can hyper zoom in and highly focus on your character's face. This is just an exact copy of every other UE5 game's character creator that was released in 2025, with a bit of the typical Korean character creator aesthetic thrown in. Within minutes after adjusting sliders, I had created one of those Bored Ape NFTs. You can find my Bitcoin wallet in the description if you would like to purchase my non-fungible property. But
I mean, I feel like that's like cool that you can do something like this.
Really, after messing with my character's proportions to the point that he had tumors
oh
in
my
every
God.
part of his abdomen, which made armor look exceptionally ridiculous.
Yeah, the armor.
I decided to take this game a bit
Oh
more
my God,
serious.
the armor contorting
After
to
all,
his
I've been
body.
hyped for literally years at this point. So I chose one of the default options and finally entered the game. You're met with a cutscene showing a conversation between Kaya and Balder.
I don't know, I feel like the character creator is still good though. Like, he didn't really show anything wrong with it outside of like if you don't like creating like a monstrosity, which you don't have to, you know.
The graphics in the cutscenes are really nicely done, but as soon as it transitions to the actual game, the curtain is peeled back, as you're shown an extremely grainy world with running and attack animations that are reminiscent of every Eastern-made slop MMO designed to steal your money. Now, everyone is saying that this game is
I mean, I feel like okay, so for the combat, I feel like the combat is like very, it kind of reminds me of Guild Wars 2, to be honest. Like, it's like not fully action combat like Black Desert Online or something, but it's not like fully tap targeting either. Like I think it's like middle ground, like Guild Wars 2, especially with like the I forget how many dodges before it like goes on cooldown, but I think it's like 2 or like maybe 3. Like early levels, you got like 2 or 3 dodges, and like it's on cooldown, and you gotta wait. And with the weapon switching as well.
basically New World, but worse. And I can understand why. I mean, look at the user interface. They basically copied New World with this sort of minimalistic style, and I mean, even
I don't mind user interface.
the color theme of your quest objectives, the compass at the top, and the action bar are all pretty similar to New World. However, I think New World is so far ahead of Chrono Odyssey in terms of quality that it's quite literally comparing apples to oranges. Just a few months ago, I played another Korean game on my channel called Bless Unleashed, where I went through a very similar character creation process, and the overall feel of Bless Unleashed, from animations to combat, was much more similar in my opinion. Just as a heads up, Bless Unleashed these days boasts a whopping 438 daily player peak on Steam charts, and I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest.
It's pretty insane that Bless is still alive after like the million controversies it had.
If Chrono Odyssey follows a very similar fate, unless drastic changes.
I'm not sure. Following a similar fate to Bless, which got like re-released like I think like 3 times or something.
Are made. Anyway, in the tutorial, you're basically this high-level version of your character. You have access to all your abilities and a mount, which feels...
I mean, I guess it's possible. People were really hyped for Bless before it
no
released, though. Also, I feel like Bless has like more like racial diversity in terms of all races compared to this game. This game, I think it's like only humans you can play as, while for something like Bless, I think there were like lion people and like, you know, that there were there were animal people, which is always cool. I always like different races in MMOs.
To it, but it is functional. And you continue to run.
I feel like there's a race I'm missing, but I don't know enough about Blast to
from cutscene to cutscene, taking out these flares. At this point, I decided to take a look at some of my available menus. You have an inventory, a character sheet, a skills tab where you can level up and learn new abilities for each weapon type that your character could use. You have a page showing your chronotector, which is one of the only unique parts about this game, where you have 5 different powers that I guess you can level up and use, all having to do something with bending time. And furthermore, more interface and menus that are all basically uninspired and copied from other games of the same type. Anyway, this tutorial culminates in a boss fight with the guy we saw over and over in tons of the cutscenes.
I mean, I feel like copy is only bad if like you're copying something that's bad. Like if you copy something good and it works for the game, then I think it's fine.
and trailers. They've tried to make it a sort of Souls-like combat where if you get hit without dodging or blocking, it's pretty drastic. And the boss has a seemingly impossibly large pool of health. Luckily, in this fight, you have an NPC helping you, which takes up most of the boss's attention. However, I still managed to die. But it doesn't matter because afterwards you're getting teleported to the main game anyway. This chick shows up with her pocket watch and resets time, and would you believe it, you went back to the past, before all this happened, and you're level 1. Who could have guessed that in a game about bending time, they would use one of the most stereotypical Back to the Future-ass narrative directions in order to familiarize yourself with the game by giving you a high-level version of the character you're about to play. Wow, I'm impressed. Anyway, you're loaded.
I mean, I don't see what's wrong with that idea. I don't mind the beginning of the game at all.
Into this creepy cave, and once again, one of the only things I seem to be able to applaud this game for is its aesthetic. I'll give them that. Everything looks relatively badass. However, this cave as an introduction to the actual game is hilarious, because it basically immediately highlights how awful and janky the movement really is, by forcing you to climb upwards over a bunch of awkward rocky outcrops as you make your way outside. Your character's feet seemingly never make contact with anything he's touching, especially when it involves moving upwards or facing any sort of verticality. The animations don't line up with what your character should be doing and how he's moving. And honestly, it feels like a mobile game at times regarding the movement. Outside of the cave is a small crate. You press E to interact, and you're given some health potions that you can equip to a quick use slot. I continued forward fighting some of these leftover flares, and I talked to the first guy who told me to keep continuing forward. And I even found Jimmy Kimmel. I did not know he was a fan of Korean MMOs. Now, I tried talking, which puts a message into the world chat, but there's no indication or speech above your character's head, so it's hard to tell when people are actually talking to each other. But I continued forward, and you can use left control to sprint, which is kinda awkward on the hand. I continued forward, kind of lagging into every new area, as the game claims to be a seamless open world, but these small loading screens that I was interacting with were...
I mean, I hope they fix the issues like this. The like lag issues. That definitely needs to be fixed 100%.
Way too obvious. Next up,
or else then the game will die.
You meet up with Kaya, who tells you to search in the chest for some armor, and this is the first time that I realized that pressing E to interact doesn't always work. Sometimes, no, most times, I had to press E upwards of 4 times for my character to actually interact with whatever the object might be. Anyway, with my new armor equipped, I followed my quest beam of light forward to this Eye of Insight. These obviously act as your fast travel locations, and every single one opens up a new part of the map. Unfortunately, whatever this cool animation was supposed to look like, I'll never know, as every time I interacted with one of these, it basically froze my screen until the animation was over. So I jumped down and made my way towards...
Also, it actually does remind me of a mobile game, like Wuthering Waves or like Genshin Impact, where you unlock the statues of the Seven, or what do they call them in Wuthering Waves? I don't know. You unlock the towers or whatever, and like it opens up the map. That actually does remind me of those games, which I think is fine.
The coastal outpost, where you're given some new weapons. You get 3 types, but once again, you can only have 2 equipped. I decided to check out and use the dual blades, as they sounded pretty cool. I went back outside and fought some flares, which got my dual blades to mastery level 2, where you can apply a skill point and learn new abilities. Before the game sends you on another path up a weirdly obscure vertical area that showcases just how bad the character's movement is. Seriously, what is their obsession with forcing you to climb up the most non-obvious locations in a way that just perfectly shows off how janky everything really is? I guess this is how the game introduces you to your chronotector, which you can use by pressing C. This highlights the bright yellow path that you've been following the entire game, except for this exact moment when it's hidden and you have to use the chronotector to see it. Now, so far I've had a lot of praise for the cutscenes. They've honestly looked pretty amazing. However, this one in particular was hilarious. This oddly proportioned hand stood out like a sore thumb. Literally, this is probably what my hand is going to look like after having to hold left control to sprint everywhere. Anyway, after this land is cleared of the threat, everything is sunny and peaceful again, and I decided to test and see if the game could match my mood and I could end it all. However, even that, they couldn't get just right. I took a measly 500 damage and continued forward. However, due to the fact that there is seemingly very little to no health regeneration, some undead pirate took...
Oh, I thought you could die from falling. I actually didn't know. Can you not die? Will it just like leave you at... Actually, because he has 500 something health, so... He had, it didn't leave him at 1. So maybe that just wasn't high enough.
Me out in basically one hit. And that's death in Chrono Odyssey. This was actually beneficial for me as it basically teleported me directly where I needed to go, so the speedrunning strat's already getting chalked up. I'm not gonna lie, at this point I was already getting pretty much fed up. I really had much higher expectations for Chrono Odyssey, and everything I had witnessed so far was janking, confusing, copied, and contrived. Put it this way, if you thought that Throne and Liberty was a poorly made Korean slop MMO, well, Chrono Odyssey is the exact same, but about 5 times worse. As I made my way closer to the first real town, which just looks exactly like the outpost that I had visited prior, the lighting started shifting, and doing that thing where the game is trying to transition you from slightly lower lighting to more. And in between, you have to experience a full-on rave, which you can control by moving your camera in different directions. After that, I was directed to participate in some crafting, and the game sends you to a blacksmith who gives you all the necessary ingredients, and you use the weapon crafter. And you spend 500 gold to make some daggers. I'm pretty sure there's much more to this system, and it's probably a pretty in-depth part to gear progression within the endgame. However, the game thinks you've had enough of learning about crafting, and it sends you on your way to continue forward with the main quest anyway. There was also no mention of gathering either, so the blacksmith just gave you all the ingredients to make your weapon without explaining where they actually might
Without explaining.
Anyway, you're sent off to find out about a
from.
cave. I came across this glowing, shining orb.
Oh, speaking of gathering, it seems like there is a lot of gathering and stuff in this game. Like, it seems like there's mining and, like, gathering, like, crops and stuff. Which I think is good. I mean, at least it's, like, something besides combat and stuff, so... I'm curious, like, if that's gonna be, like, really good.
Orb, known as a vault, but when I tried to enter it, it said this
content... Because I didn't really get into it. I didn't play the closed beta for too long, so...
The playtest. That's fair enough, but how do I get to this cave? You see, your compass doesn't actually indicate verticality in any way, so you can be on top of your quest marker, but still not in the right location. This is normally fine in the vast majority of games that I play, however, this starting area for Chrono Odyssey is literally riddled with different levels of verticality. You have ravines and waterfalls and mountains that are constantly acting as blockers towards where you actually need to go. But after a few moments of running around aimlessly, I did eventually decide to try and hop down to the bottom of this ravine. Along my way down, I actually found a chest which had some items and some new boots inside, so that was cool. And eventually I made it to the cave where you find something known as a chrono gate. For some reason, this loading screen took an exceptionally long time for me. I want to say upwards of like 45 seconds before loading into a pretty small area. My quest tracker indicated that I needed to fight the 1000-fold piercer, which didn't seem to be spawning in. But then I realized that this wall is actually a giant door, which has a really long opening animation. So I made my way forward before seeing yet again another...
Oh yeah, I think that might have... Yeah, I think that happened with me too. Like the first thing, I like left, and then I'm like, oh, what if... Then I like noticed it was a door and went through. Yeah, I think the first time I left, and then... Second time, I'm like, you know, it must be in there somewhere, and I was like looking around and found that it was a door and went through.
Cutscene that's been featured in trailers and hype content, and does every boss just look like this? So far, that seemed to be the case. Anyway, I tried fighting this 1000-fold piercer. I managed to do some damage, but yeah, then I died. So I tried again, and I died again. The dude can literally take out most of your HP in one hit if you miss a dodge or a block. I'm sure I could have taken him down given enough time and effort, but this was definitely not an easy fight. Especially for people who might be new to your game or Souls-like games in general.
Well, I think it's interesting because a lot of people said you should, like, you can go back to this. Like, you don't specifically have to do this. You can just, you know, level up, get some like special skills and stuff, and you know, do this. And then, you know, tackle this again, which is definitely true. I just wanted to be one of the people who defeated him at like level 3 or something. Would have been cool. But it's like difficult because I mean part of it is lag. Second is because like you only get like 2 dodges before it's on cooldown, and this guy attacks like, you know, many times. Like he has attacks where he attacks like many times, or he attacks like super fast. So yeah.
General, I don't see the average new player being able to actually complete this. It seemed like this was my main quest, like it's what I was supposed to be working on. But I decided to leave the instance just in case, and I guess it wasn't my main quest, and it wasn't what I was supposed to be working on, as I once again had a beam of light leading me into a different direction. And I guess that...
Oh yeah, you can go to her like without killing that guy, and then like she tells you some stuff, but then she won't tell you anything more if you can't kill him.
At this point, I got to level 4. So I followed this beam of light to a bound stone, which I guess acts as a place you can respawn and also as another fast travel location. I was told to use the bound stone to enter the citadel. I wasn't quite sure where the citadel was on the map, but then I saw it. Hold R to enter the citadel. Gotcha. Upon entering the citadel, you're met with more cutscenes, and Velia tells you to go to the chrono gate. I explored a bit around this citadel, which honestly looks nothing like a citadel, and basically, it's just Chrono Odyssey's version of the Magnus from BDL.
Oh, Magnus from BDL.
Anyway, leaving the citadel and
actually,
following
yeah,
my
that's
quest
true.
marker led me to this house that
It is kind of like that place. I wonder if it gets bigger like that place.
had a blue glowing barrel outside of it, which I was able to interact with by pressing E about 4 times, and my character picked up the barrel. It seems like you can actually aim and throw the barrel and... Oh, okay. Well, then I respawned and followed my quest marker again, and interestingly, it led me back directly to that same house. Now, you can't actually go inside this house. There's an invisible wall that prevents you from entering this obviously open space. I even got on the roof and tried to drop in, but no. And there seemed to be tons of other players around who had the same quest marker as me and were similarly confused. Anyway, I picked up the barrel again and I threw it, and did that just kill me and another player? Did I just participate in non-consensual open world PvP in a game that doesn't feature open world PvP, at least not in this area? Wait, we need to go back and see if that's what happened, or if it was just a visual bug. Surely... Oh, yeah, okay, I just killed another player with this barrel again. That's amazing. Oh boy. Next, I helped some naked man down off the waterfall in Chrono Odyssey's rendition of the waterfall quest from Old School.
Oh, yeah, I did this dynamic quest too. This also reminds how it reminds me of Guild Wars 2 because it has like dynamic quests like this. It's like Guild Wars 2's dynamic events where I guess other players can do this, participate in like stuff like this.
RuneScape before he creepily walked away from me and hid in a bush. And that's when I actually realized that my quest marker wasn't telling me to go to that house in the woods, it was directing me back to the Chrono Gate where I had fought that difficult boss. Because the Chrono Gate was so deep into the mountain from the side of the ravine, it appeared on the minimap as if it was above of the mountain. That's why I got confused. So I went back to the Piercer guy just to have my ass absolutely handed to me again, and that's when I decided enough was enough. I am so mad at myself for getting hyped up about this game. And these aren't just beta
I thought you would have
testing
beat him in the
problems.
end.
This
He would have like kept training and then eventually beat him.
game obviously needs a ton of work, but I can already tell from my short time playing that it's just another sloppy Korean-made MMO.
No, to me, I feel like a lot of it is beta testing stuff. Like they can make the barrels not like kill other players. They can fix the lag in their servers. Of course, I was in the server. I was like in the Asian server that had like 200 ping, so that could have contributed to the lag I was experiencing, rather than an English server who I think would have like 50 ping.
That despite not being a cash grab just yet, probably will be within a few years. Don't play this game. Save yourself the time and the money. There's already a fully released version of Chrono Odyssey that's been out for years. It's called Bless Online. Anyway,
I was
if you
gonna
made
say
it to
Black
the end
Desert Online.
of the video, I appreciate you. A like.
I don't know. I'm still hyped for it, honestly. Like, I like the dynamic event system. I think the gathering and stuff might be cool. I like the art direction. Like the world they created seemed interesting to me. So yeah, I'm actually so excited for this game. I just hope, like, they probably shouldn't release it in 3 or 4 months or whenever that they're gonna release it. Probably should, like, I don't know, release it like maybe in a year or something like that. But they definitely need to comb out some bugs first, you know. But yeah, let's see the comments. It's a beta argument. I get that games can improve, but let's be real for a second. It has had a long track record of betas that reflect deep-rooted issues, which often persist long to release. And true. I mean, I do think like it shouldn't. Yeah. I think they should wait like a year or something to release it. Probably another beta as well. Another to see like if it's like almost ready or something. Yeah, it needs some polishing. But I feel like the core game is like interesting to me still. So many of have been brainwashed by modern betas, glorified demos. If you play Season, I will tell you it's far better than New World's first beta. Only UI minimalistic is insulting minimalization. Status says it's difficult. A lot of work ahead of them. Yeah, well, yeah, that's wait. Canon and others were getting paid too much to be squeezing those fake emotions. The game is far from ready and plays worse than Dragon's Dogma 1. Next gen? Where? In the next trailers. But yeah, has optimization issues, needs like definitely fine tuning, but I think it's still a good game. I'm still looking forward to it. So yeah, I guess that's it. Peace.